Hey everybody, this is Brad Dyke. It's been for about a week and a half since I've been doing my traveling in Washington, D.C. and getting all that good stuff done. I had a great discovery working with AWS and their teams. And as I came back, I hit some new challenges. Kind of a difficult topic to talk about. And today is my logic video. So we're not going to talk about hardware so much as we're going to talk about operations and how do you get this stuff together? How do you get your act together? Well, in this particular case, the big challenge is, especially coming from the conference, is why is it so difficult to begin to spin up DevOps? Now, spinning up DevOps seems easy. It's a discipline, right? You're shaking stuffs around. You're trying to get it in the proper sequence. Follow the sequence. No. For three major reasons. One, your coders, your applications, and your application teams are what we call old dogs. Two, DevOps is a new trick. And three, old dogs learning new tricks, not so good. So it really does take a sense of management to bring the old up side by side to the new and let them work them both for a while and then allow them to transition over. Not everything may go over, but that doesn't mean DevOps isn't being utilized and implemented. It just means that only a certain percentage of your resources can be done that way. So with that being said, how do you do it? I mean, the very first thing you have to do, the most critical thing you have to do, is make sure your operations are fully functional. Make sure that you're doing your backups. Make sure you're maintaining security integrity. Make sure you've got InfoSec running. Make sure your infrastructure monitoring and all of those things must be functional and supportive, at least 80%. Don't expect 100%, that's impossible. But 80% is doable. Next is that you have proper monitoring, personnel, and everybody's in the right place, how they do it today. Once you know that's in play, and not always, because you may be short on manpower resources, so you're dealing with a lot less than you need to have. You may need more people, so you have to get that kind of shored up. And lastly, the last part is your applications. Now, DevOps is a tricky thing. The reason why it's tricky is because of the fact that when you're working with these environments, you have to understand that you don't know them. Especially if you're a new DevOps director or a manager, you have to take the time and document what you have. If you don't document what you have, then the end result is not good because you end up basically, well, shall we say, trying to attempt something but not knowing how that something works, so therefore you're not going to be successful. So one of the most crucial things you've got to do as a whole, that means the old teams and the new teams working together to formulate a strategy to document what you have. What are the tools? What revs are you at? What are the components? What are the applications? What are the services? What UDP and TCP ports are you using? And so on and so on and so on and so on. Until you have one document for that application or system that fully documents it. Then you can pick and choose what in DevOps you can come in and help with. DevOps isn't an answer for everything. Let's dispel that right now. Enterprise was not a solution for everything. The Hyper-V was not a solution for everything. Cloud vision is not everything. The buzzwords of the industry are great for executives and people who are trying to sell stuff. But for people like you and me who are the grunts who go out there and either manage other grunts or we're doing the work ourselves, the reality is it's just one component. Because the truth of the matter is when you look at your environments, you've got a little bit of hybrid cloud, you've got a little bit of this, you've got a little bit of that. You've got extensions, you've got APIs, you've got a mix of everything. Why? Because your environment demands it. So your environment is dictating your situation, not the buzzword DevOps. So let's dispel that now. It's important to do that because when your upper management uses those words freely, they may not quite understand fully what it is, and it's your responsibility to help them gauge that correctly. Just like with every other type of technology in the past. This is good and it is bad and it has strengths and it has weaknesses. And your applications and fully identifying those roles and responsibilities will help you make sure that you don't trip over some of those weaknesses. So with that being the case, the next responsibility that you have to really think about next relies on the nature of who you are. Look, it's not about technology. It's about people. They have to be comfortable with you. You have to be comfortable with them. You have to be able to fumble, pick up the ball, pick it up, and run. Be prepared to make mistakes. Be prepared to have accidents, or oh geez, we've band-aids this so many times we forgot all these other things. That's okay, but as well as you do it as a team, it's perfectly okay. Laugh it off, mark it down, track it, make sure that the next one comes around the corner, you do it again. Make sure you catch these things. That's how your team bonds. That's how you develop good teammanship. But with that being the case, the last part of it is truly the hardest part, in my opinion. And for somebody like me who's very methodical and 1, 2, 3, repeat, getting everybody to do it on a monthly basis is quite a challenge. And I think you're going to discover it doesn't have to be a monthly basis. It needs to be a basis depending on the application's requirements. That could be every 6 months. It could be every 4 months. In some cases, it could be every other week. You don't know. And by doing the proper discovery of your applications, then can you accomplish the beginning starting process of DevOps. Then you can start to improve. Remember, you have no wheel to improve until you build the wheel first. That's a very important detail that you've got to take into consideration when you're going to off and reinventing operations using the discipline of DevOps. So with that being said, my last part of this component is probably the most ear-ringing process of this process. And that is communication, communication, communication. DevOps operations do work in a void, unfortunately, because nobody really knows what it is. It's not defined. It's not a clear-cut picture, right? But as people begin to integrate, you start the communication process. Everybody starts to get a feel for it. And when that happens, then you can start doing things such as 3-in-1 policy and so on and so on. I'll explain that in the next video about what is 3-in-1 and why is it so important to IT operations. Well, this is Brad Dyke letting you go. I hope you enjoyed this short little video about why is it so difficult to get DevOps off the ground. And hopefully this will help you a little bit. Please feel free to put messages in the text down below and like if you like. God bless and have a great weekend.